Growth mindset. So, through the years of my life, I've encountered a lot of different people and had a lot of different best friends. And best friends would kind of rotate through my childhood for a while. Like, I'd be friends with someone in first grade, someone else in second grade sometimes. Sometimes it would last for a few years. But I remember when I was transitioning into high school, one of my best buddies, in fact, he was my best friend at the time. To protect the innocent, we'll call him Drew. Um, he had really been there for me for a solid 4 years of middle school. So this was a really solid best friendship. But now we were starting to grow apart. From my perspective, I felt like Drew was becoming a bit of a wet blanket. He didn't want to try new things. He didn't want to get involved in some of the things I was interested in, like theater and the arts. But even when I would just have like good pranks that we could pull or creative ideas that I would scheme up. He was starting to become reluctant in getting involved. And he would feel very fearful of not only being getting in trouble, but fearful of doing things that could make him look bad or make him feel embarrassed, things that could make him feel like a failure. So he wouldn't want to take a lot of risks as we entered into ninth grade. Uh, he had done everything possible to make sure we were in the same homeroom so that we would be able to continue our friendship. But our friendship actually died right there in ninth grade. 10th, 11th, 12th, we were no longer friends with each other. We had never had a fight or anything like that. We just grew apart. I found another friend that I felt like had more of a growth mindset. My new friend, to protect the innocent, we'll call her Jean. Jean was very creative and she wanted to participate in my schemes and the pranks that we would do. Like the time where we created a fake school survey and then we passed it out, but it was really questions to get people to talk about how much they liked us. and, and it was a successful scheme. We went around collecting the finished results of this survey that we had handed out to all the classrooms. And I enjoyed doing things like that that were fun, kind of edgy and exciting. And she did too, but I remember she made uh, this one remark that would indicate a more fixed mindset. And what she said is, you know, sometimes I really fear that I won't be able to live the life that I want to live. We talked a lot about our future being high schoolers, and this was something I couldn't process. You're afraid that you won't be able to live the life that you want to live. Like, what do you mean? She said, like, I don't want to end up like a suburban mom or something like that, because for her, that wasn't her dream. And I was just like, if you don't want to end up as a suburban mom, you can just not be a mom and not move to the suburbs. Like, I didn't understand how I couldn't understand her fear. I couldn't relate to it. The reason is because at the very core, uh, 16-year-old Roman had a growth mindset and a self-empowerment mindset. So I didn't understand why a person would fear something that would really come down to their own decisions in life. Why would I fear that I won't choose what I want? That doesn't make sense to me because I look to myself as the authority for my actions, my decisions, and ultimately what my life will be. But this indicates a growth mindset, which is different from a fixed mindset. And that's what we're talking about tonight. Now, by definition, if you don't know what a growth mindset is or you haven't heard of that, I will define it for you. Let's start first with a fixed mindset, which is the opposite of the growth mindset. A person with a fixed mindset has belief that abilities, intelligence, talents are static traits. So you either have them or you don't. People with the fixed mindset avoid challenges because they fear failure. People with a fixed mindset give up easily when they face obstacles. People with a fixed mindset see effort sometimes as being a bit pointless because they believe that talent is really what determines your success. You're either born with it or you're not. Maybe it's the family, maybe it's your positioning, but there's nothing I can do to really make any major change to my life. That would be like a fixed mindset way of thinking. Also, those with a fixed mindset tend to feel a bit threatened by the success of others. They see it as a reflection of their own shortcomings or as pressure for them to do more, like it's shining a light on how not good they're doing. A person with a fixed mindset seeks validation for what they are doing or what they have rather than growth. They seek validation rather than growth. They want to prove their intelligence and their abilities. So they say things like, I'm just not good at math, so I'll never understand it. I failed once, so I must not be meant for this. Or that person is naturally talented. I could never be like them when looking at people who are successful. On the other hand, a growth mindset is really quite different than this. A person with a growth mindset has the belief that abilities, intelligence, talents can be developed through effort, learning, persistence. And people with this mindset, the growth mindset, tend to embrace challenges as opportunities to grow, tend to persist through obstacles, seeing them as a part of the process, see effort as essential to mastery and success. They learn from criticism rather than taking it personally. They find inspiration in others' success, believing they can also improve. So, a person with a growth mindset would say something like, I don't understand this yet, but I will if I keep working on it. Or failure is just a learning process. Or failure is just feedback. I'll adjust and I'll try again. If they can do it, I could learn how to do it too. Did you catch that? If they can do it, I could learn how to do that too. That's a growth mindset. Makes a difference because people with a fixed mindset feel stuck, especially when they're trying to heal their healing journey. They feel stuck in trauma because of a fixed mindset. They believe they're permanently damaged. They believe there's the healthy people and the unhealthy people, and they're just a part of the healthy people, and there's nothing they could do about it. Person with a fixed mindset doesn't believe that they have power to be able to change their reality, whereas a person with a growth mindset, in contrast, understand that healing takes time. It takes effort. It takes learning and retraining the brain, which is a process, but then they can learn those new patterns. So, what do you think? Do you think sometimes you have a little bit of a fixed mindset? A fixed mindset will make us believe our abilities, our intelligence, our emotional capacity are set in stone. Makes you feel like I'm just where I am and it's not really going to get much better than this. They have a fear of failure. You ever feel that? A fear of failure? They avoid challenges. You ever do that? Avoid a challenge? They give up easily. You ever do that? You ever give up easily? A person with fixed mindset might say, I'll never heal. I'll always be broken. A person with a fixed mindset, when they get on the phone with me, they say, Roman, I'll probably be the one client you won't be able to heal. And what they don't know is 50% of clients say that. None, and it's never true. It's a common thing for a client to say. By the way, another common thing for clients to say is, how are you doing, Roman? Does anyone ever ask you? Yes. I deal with empaths for a living. They all ask me how I'm doing. Absolutely. But a fixed mindset makes you believe that your pain is permanent. You feel like your triggers are unchangeable. You feel like your identity is tied to your past. Person with a fixed mindset loves talking about the past, about what happened in the past. Here's a reflection question. Have you ever found yourself thinking that there is no hope? Have you ever found yourself feeling hopeless? We don't want to stay there, do we? That's not a growth position to be in, is it? A growth mindset changes everything because it teaches us that skills, intelligence, emotional resistance can be developed. Skills, intelligence, emotional resistance, resilience can be developed. A growth mindset tells us that we can heal. The brain can heal. And in fact, that just happens to be a scientific fact. Because the brain has neuroplasticity, we have the ability to create new neural pathways in the brain. That is not in a fixed state. And isn't that amazing? To be able to change matter with energy. You've ever thought of that? To not tap into that is incredible. We got to tap into our ability to change the brain, physical matter, with energy, pattern of thinking. Instead of saying, I'll never heal, a growth mindset says, I'm still learning how to heal, or I am healing, or it's a process, or I'm working on it, but I'll get there. Instead of saying, I'm just an anxious person, it says, I can train myself to calm my nervous system. I can train myself to calm my nervous system. I can become calm. I can become steady. I can overcome this. This is what I just didn't have in Drew. He just didn't want to like grow and as I moved on in life, this was just a pattern. I would have various business partners and employees that I would hire or partner with to do a project, to do a job, to do a business. And then when we would face some sort of obstacle inevitably or some type of transition, I would lose them. They'd say, you know what? Let me just cash out here. We'll cut our losses. I'm out. And I would go, man, are you sure? You know, if we just stick in here, if we just keep working on this thing, I'd say, yeah, yeah. And then when I would finish growing that business twice to six figures, three times actually, I would talk back, I would call back that person from the beginning who left. I would be like, "Hey, man, or gal, this thing is really taking off. Like it was really gone. Everything we wanted it to be. It's finally there. I know it took a little longer than we expected, but it got there. And inevitably, I would usually be able to talk them into coming back, but they could never get back into the full swing. They would like dip their toe in the water, feel it out for a little while, maybe work for a little while, and they would just fizzle and fade. They didn't feel comfortable with change, with growth, with transition, with the risk that it takes, the bravery that's required to face failure, to face opposition. They just didn't have that. And I would watch myself just kind of pass them by, even though I would fiercely, out of loyalty, try to keep them as a part of the original. Hey, remember we said we were going to do this? So, what can you do if you want to develop a growth mindset for yourself? And you don't want to be just left behind, wishing that you had a little bravery, had a little faith, had a little tenacity. Yep, the only difference between the two is the mindset. It was not that I just have more skill and talent and ability. No, it's mindset. Even the skills and talents and abilities I have, I developed. Do you know how I developed them? Through growth mindset. I wasn't born with all the exact skills. I developed them because I looked at whatever the skill was and then I said, well, I could probably do that. Once I saw someone else doing it, I said, I could learn that. And sometimes I was wrong. Sometimes I tried to learn something and I couldn't do it. Like I wanted to sing and I really cannot sing. I'm very confident. My singing voice is terrible. Of course, I believe I could improve in singing. I probably have, but I don't have the natural pipes that I needed. I've tried some things. I've tried learning language. I spent years learning foreign language and never got good at it. The majority of the businesses I started failed miserably, miserably to the losses of thousands of dollars. So I've experienced the failure. So what's the difference? The mindset. It's the way that I'm contextualizing the situation. I failed. So now I'm smarter than ever. Now I could never make the exact same mistake again. Make sense? I failed, so I'm actually better now than I used to be. Please recognize in the beginning, you had to fail to learn anything, how to walk, how to talk. Everything you know how to do now, it was a process of failure and embarrassment in the process, or potentially embarrassing moments, right? As a baby, you stumbled, you fell many times. You flubbed your speech many times in the process. Keep that in mind, right? So that we have more of a growth mindset. So anything I want to do is a process of first being the fool before I can become the master, right? We have to first be the fool before we could become the master. Like this meeting here, I've told you guys this story. Like today we have about 260 listening. It didn't start that way. I had to be the fool first. I had to come on and do a Zoom meeting with nobody in the room, or just one, which is even more embarrassing than no one. Doing Zoom meetings with no one in the room, I just do a recording. No big deal. I'll put it up on YouTube. It's not embarrassing. One person in the room, it's rough. It's rough because I'm talking to one person and I'm giving a speech. And it's rough because it's really like, who is this guy trying to be? Right? And you got imposter syndrome that's kicking in, like, oh God, what am I trying to do here? This person's probably looking at me like I'm nuts. They probably can't wait for this meeting to be over, right? And then what am I doing there? Mind reading. Oh, they probably feel this way. They probably feel that way. This is true story. This is true story. I have things I'm starting now, projects I'm starting now, where I am the fool in this project. But as I grow, then I eventually, it could take months, could take years, then I eventually become the master. Then I eventually get into a situation. You don't know how bad. There was this young lady named, I think you pronounce it Nefertiti or something like that. She used to come to all my meetings in the beginning. I would have like four people in the meeting. And she would be at all the meetings, these same meetings. I remember this girl. None of you guys know her because I don't know where she is now. She doesn't, as far as I know, she doesn't tune into the meetings anymore. And you don't know how badly I want to find her and be like, hey, come back now. It used to be so awkward. Come back, That's life. You have to be the fool before you can become the master. So don't be afraid. Oh, I can't do that at 50. I can't do that at 60 years old. Yeah, you can't. That was when Colonel Sanders started Kentucky Fried Chicken, right? A senior citizen at that point. He's supposed to be retired. And then he made his most successful business. Yeah, you can. You can. I don't care if you're past 30, past 40. All of that is nonsense. You're alive, aren't you? You have a pulse. What? Why are you counting the year? Like, what does that have to do with anything? Like, oh, I don't know. I'm a little old. You're alive. You're human. So keep going. So keep going. So choose a new thing. It's not too late to learn a new skill. It's not too late to learn a new skill. We can all learn new skills. We can all grow. So let's develop a growth mindset. Number one, we got to reframe thoughts. Do you notice how I reframe failure? How I take failure? Do you notice how I do that? Instead of looking at it as I'm a failure, I should just stop. There's no point. I'm embarrassed, right? All that negative. I find a way to flip it to my advantage. So, a question I've been asking a lot of clients lately because I had this epiphany the other day is life a competition? And invariably, most clients, some clients get this one wrong. It's not right or wrong, by the way. But unfortunately, we tend to say, no, well, no. That's our first impulse. And then I'm like, are you sure? You know? And then the client's like, I mean, I guess maybe, yeah, in a sense, in some ways. Yeah, I guess it's kind of a competition, I guess. That sounds so wrong. But then you think about it. And there's this thing in like sports. If you're playing around with your friends, and if you don't play sports, I'm sorry that you'll miss this analogy, but just use your imagination. Like as a guy, if you're like tossing the basketball around with your buddies, it's like non-competitive. You're just having fun, right? But if someone shows up and they start really trying hard and they start keeping score and they become competitive, it raises the level of play at that point and makes everyone else have to become competitive as well. Does that make sense? So for me and you guys who are in this room, probably for us, we wouldn't decide to make life a competition. But life is not full of just us in this room. There are narcissists and psychopaths and sociopaths and other fierce competitors out there who are competing with you. They're competing with you for a position in school. They're competing with you for a position in the job, in the workplace. You have to compete to get your position. You have to compete to get your raise. You have to compete to get finance, money. You have to compete to apply for a loan. You have to compete to get a house. And things are presented as if there's limited resources for everyone. And then there's scales and there's systems and there's credit. And it's like, you're in a competition. Even just the universe itself, you still have to you have to compete against the universe. If I want to farm, the ground is me versus the ground. One is going to win. I gotta till this thing and bring this thing under subjection and get my seeds in there and plant it. You understand? Life is a competition. So once you grasp that, not because we want it to be or because that's ideal or because we're being bleak, we just need to process how it actually is right now. Life's a competition. So do you want to win? You can't change the fact that it's a competition. So the question is, do you want to win? It's from that mindset that young Roman as a child is developing this growth mindset. Because when you process that life is a competition and I want to win, then you can get into being more success oriented instead of safety oriented. Then you can make decisions in a way that aligns with your growth, everything to your benefit, everything to your benefit. Every decision needs to be what will benefit me in the end. So, will it benefit you to look at other people and say, oh, they're probably better than I am, and I probably can't learn? No, it won't benefit you. So, therefore, you throw that in the trash. Will it benefit you to live in shame? Oh, I'm worthless. Other people are worth more than I am. Is that going to help you win? No. So you toss that out. You throw that in the trash. It's not going to help you. Will it benefit you to be positively delusional and say, I can do anything I put my mind to. I'm capable. I can learn anything. I'm beautiful. I'm wanted. I'm lovable. Will that help you to win? Yeah. It's going to help you to win to create positive delusion. So that's why we do it. That's why I tell you to do it. You create positive delusion so that you can move forward. It's a mindset. My mindset, as I explained through school and through work and business, was I can do it. If other people are doing it, why can't I? That's what I thought. These other people are doing it. So, oh, that guy made money, man. Well, I could make money. If he made money, I should be able to do it too. It's a delusion. I wasn't making any money at first, but I had a delusion. I had a dream. One day, I bet I could make money for myself. I could figure it out, right? I could see right away that working for someone else was not setting myself up for success, right? Because I have all the same ADHD tendencies that many of you guys have. And I'm not even like really that great with authority anyway. So I'm like, man, I don't really feel like I'm setting myself up for success. I had some good jobs where I worked for people that I liked, but I felt like I might do better if I had my own business. And so one of the first businesses that I started was selling prepaid legal. I don't know if you guys heard that, but it's kind of like an insurance for like legal stuff. So I was selling like these insurance plans, and then I started doing pretty good. I started doing pretty good. I started just telling people like, just sign up and you can cancel later, because I would get the commission that would be equal to 3 months of their pay, and they would just advance me this commission, even though the person would only have to pay for 1 month to get started. I thought that was a pretty good deal. You pay $30, I get $100. This is great. So I was gaming the system. And then that, of course, that Ponzi scheme came crashing down on my 19-year-old head. And, according to the company, you don't owe the money back, but you owe it back out of your commissions, right? So you don't have to pay it back, but we're going to take the money back out of your future commissions. So now that I had thousands of dollars in what they call chargebacks, meaning people canceled their plans and never paid in enough to cover the cost of my commissions, I failed. So I was 19, having started my first business, and I was in the hole. Thousands of dollars. I couldn't make another dime with that company. So I needed to pivot and pivot fast. And I did, and I failed at everything I tried. I tried selling Kirby vacuums. I tried everything that I could find at the time. And it was all a bunch of failures. Just sometimes companies would just close down on me. Like Lou Pearlman, I don't know if you heard of him. You look him up. He's a scam artist guy. Um, I ended up working for one of his companies, and then it just folded all of a sudden one day because he got in trouble for his scams and ended up going to jail. I'm like, oh my God, he still owes me money. Where's my money, Lou? You know. So are you going to face the setbacks? Yeah, it's going to be hard. It's going to be really hard. My next successful business wasn't until a couple years later, which was window cleaning, which I scaled to six figures, but you couldn't have told 21-year-old Roman who's traipsing in the snow and can't get one customer up in Wisconsin. You can't tell that guy, oh, don't worry, just stick with it. At that point, it's just like, man, this is rough. I'm really trying here and I'm not getting anything. We didn't have the internet. I mean, we had the internet, but it wasn't like that was where you just get your business. It was like I just post on social media and all this business was going to fly in. You had to go door to door with flyers. But as I traipsed through the snow, I had a dream. I had a vision, positive delusion. My positive delusion was that this guy who had very little window cleaning experience, could one day create a whole window cleaning business and have guys working for me and money just rolling in like hundreds of dollars per week. I didn't dream very big. I was thinking hundreds a week. I was like, man, I could probably make like 500 a week doing this. And to me, I was good. If I could make 500 plus a week, oh my gosh, we would be living so comfortably, I thought, you know. And it really got there. It really got there. It got beyond that. Got beyond that. Took years, but it got there. It got there. And I'm telling you from experience because I've done this again and again. I've purposely started over. I've gotten all the way to where I wanted to get and said, all right, let's try it again. Clear the board. I'm starting completely over. I want to try this thing again. I want to suffer and climb my way back to the top and create something that's better than the last thing I created. I really want to understand this thing called life, success. I want to really get it. I want to know that no matter what, I don't have to fear anything because anyone could knock me on my back and I will get back up. And I've done that several times. So I'm telling you, it's mindset. It's mindset. Just got to stay focused, continue to believe. So surround yourself with people who are growth oriented. Get rid of the people who are um, stuck in I can't even remember what the fixed mindset. I don't identify with fixed mindset, and I don't want you to either. Right? And let's practice reframing. Okay. So this week, in between now and Wednesday, I want you to practice reframing everything from I'll never heal this to hey, healing takes time. I'm going to continue to move forward from hey, I guess this is just who I am to I can learn, I can grow, I can become a healthier version. I'm not stuck. From I always get triggered to I can train my nervous system to respond differently over time. From my past has ruined me to my past shaped me. And it's not what I rely on. I focus on my present and my future. From I'm not good enough to I'm more than enough. I'm growing, learning, improving every day. I'm overwhelmed with everything that I am in a good way. Instead of I failed too much to be successful, you say every failure has taught me something valuable for success. Instead of I'll never be like those other people who are good, you say no, I can learn from others and develop my own strengths. Instead of people don't like me don't succeed, you say no. With the right mindset, with the effort, I can succeed too. I can do it too. If other people can do it, I can do it too. I believe in you. Do you believe in you? Let's put it into action. Okay?